'cause I'll put that in the minutes just because I'll. Okay, quarter two financial outlook. Looking good. Is it looking good or looking bad?
Well, financial
Just
report or
continue on.
2020 budget outlook?
This is the first one, the quarter financial report's the first
Okay.
item on the agenda. Just
It's
express
looking
it
okay.
in one word, okay.
Okay, next.
Mike has about 20 questions, I
No,
know.
I read through it,
You don't have questions? I had questions.
Okay.
Cause we have till 6:20, right? So we
You
have
do,
15, we
yes.
have 15 minutes, okay. Okay, Unicort. Unicort.
Okay,
What page is that?
well,
It's giving me eye
just
strain.
give me one moment.
Alright,
It is page 10 of the report,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So I know they have collections from prior years, which is great, but that's like basically a one-time thing.
Yes,
And they're only like at a third of their court fines, so that's not
Yes.
good. What's going on?
we have finally had a light bulb come on in the back room. We keep doing all these citation collections projections, and all the numbers keep saying we should get this, we should get this. What we've never accounted for is the fact that we have to give back about 30% of that to the state and the county as part of the court system processing. So that finally explains to my satisfaction why I keep getting these citations numbers and they never happen. So we're gonna adjust that. I expect them to come in maybe about 120
Well, they're.
this year.
Yeah, last 2 years has been 102, and they're at
Yeah.
52, so that makes more sense. Okay, so that
Yeah.
budget is just.
So that's
Okay.
was a budgeting challenge. Take the hit for that. We should have been able to figure that out sooner. We are taking credit card payments now for court citations, and that's generating a substantial amount of activity, so hopefully people will find it easier to pay their citations, and they don't end up into that collections mode, so.
Were the things we approved in budget last year for this year, they were all like collections on prior amounts, right?
Well, we had the collections, and then we also had the credit card processing capabilities we wanted for the court system, so both of those are in place now. The credit cards just came online about a month ago.
Okay, but so we wouldn't have been looking for any bump in current year court
No,
fees from what.
no, that's what
it was all
that's why we've got a
collections. Okay.
separate collections line, because it's gonna be a couple year thing, we'll get rid of that backlog, and then we don't probably expect to see much more from that at that point.
Okay.
So are they on track?
Mhm.
What?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
No, they're not on track.
So, since I've been here, court fines have been probably a third less, they come in all, I haven't had one, this is my 4th or 5th year now.
You probably missed my initial
Okay.
explanation. One of the things, we kept doing projections about court revenues, and those projections are reasonably accurate. The thing that we've never accounted for is that once we get them, we have to give about a third of those back to the state and the county.
Have we always though?
Yeah,
Okay,
We just-
but that's never been integrated into the,
okay. Is the
Collection.
number, okay.
so those are, it has to be netted. So we're gonna fix that this year.
Okay.
I expect them to come in about 120 this year.
But all I'm saying is, we projected at a certain amount, and if we've always not netted it out, then if we ever had a time when we projected it correctly, without netting it out, no, I'm just saying,
It's
because otherwise
been
the projections
higher.
are high.
It's been higher in the past, but in the last couple of years, it's been pretty much about that $150,000 gross, but we haven't netted out the money we have to give back.
So all these years we've been saying, oh, we're under budget, we're not collecting enough, it was just because we weren't netting it out.
We didn't net it out for budgetary purposes, which we will resolve.
Okay.
Well, there was years when we read the Capitol Drive, and there was a year where we did, fines went way down. Then we opened on-street parking at night, and fines went way down. I mean, there's been a.
And there's been some
example
turnover with the
of it.
police department, which has some impact, but I mean,
There you go.
we have hit those numbers in the past, but not in recent trends. We've been,
Yeah, I had a question too about the fines in the police department, but I think, I talked to Bart today about the transportation and parking study, because to me, and whether that's gonna include kind of looking at all the revenues that come in all the different ways and all the costs, and I know that, and he said that is within the scope, but, I mean, clearly, anyway, I think we can defer that, and hopefully the consultant will be looking at the costs and revenues and give us, because any decision we make on parking, we're gonna wanna know, is it gonna help us or hurt us financially? So, yeah, I think we can defer some of that conversation, but, what our professionals in general, other general administration, our IT services, professional fees were almost at, is that prepaid for the entire year?
It is, we
Oh.
prepay that in 2 big blocks, and that's, we try to get that into December or January the following year, so that is
Okay, so it's not
anticipated
anything to worry
to be
about.
pretty static there.
Okay.
And did we already pass Public Works?
No, okay, police. Planning, so planning, we're doing good on building permits, but not so great on electrical and plumbing. And HVAC, but building
Buildings
our
tend to
biggest, the
precede
biggest.
projects where HVAC and electrical are a little more concurrent, so we will,
Inspection fees are not good.
we will see how
We
those,
just tripled them.
actually, it's a little different thing, but, Bart and I are going to look at the permit module and make sure that we have all the proper codings split out. We believe that there may be some reinspection fees falling under the trade permits because of the way it was originally coded. So we're gonna resolve that before we move into the 2020 budget cycle, so that we make sure we have a clear understanding of where that trend is, and then we'll get a better number for it.
So, yeah, unless anyone has any questions, we'll go to Public Works. Okay, Public Works, so we were both, the recycling, I understand. Yeah, we had budgeted, I understand that it was included in the cost side, like they lowered their cost rather than show us a refund.
Yeah, they lowered our refunds, but then we had a discussion, the last recycling discussion at board. They were gonna surcharge us for, now they were gonna give us an extra charge beyond just cutting our rebate. And I remember asking for the contract to say, well, is that allowed? And then I believe, I think it was Rebecca that got back to me afterwards and mentioned it was not in the contract, that surcharge, so therefore they couldn't charge it to us. Are they charging that to us?
They are, but we've put them on notice that we will not be paying it.
Okay.
And if, I believe my last conversation with Rebecca, you can confirm this with her, that her direction would be if we're trying to work this out amicably, but if that doesn't occur, we'll go back to the first of the year and just reduce our payments on future invoices to recoup the negative rebates that we've been paying since the beginning of the year.
But rebates in the, say that again, I'm sorry.
So, under a previous contract, we had a rebate structure that was outlined in the contract. That said we would automatically receive 50% of the proceeds from the sale of materials collected curbside.
Yep, like 2 years ago, that went away down to like
Right.
2,000.
So the rebate under the new contract, which was offered verbally, not included in the written contract, says that we receive proceeds from the sale of materials after a $55 per ton processing surcharge.
Oh, that's the surcharge, okay.
So, when you have markets like you have today, there's no proceeds from the sale. And so we end up being charged a $55 per ton
Right.
surcharge.
And that's what you came.
So that's what I'm referring to as the negative rebate.
Okay, okay, thank you, because I thought this is what was happening.
So on the revenue side, we're budgeted for 5,000 recycling rebates, but we're not gonna get anything. Okay, but that was only 5,000, okay.
Well, but it might be more than that, correct? I mean, it might be less than that, it might be a negative. We might be paying
Yeah.
more if we paid the surcharge, we
Yeah.
would even be, the
Well, this-
expenditure side would be
So
different.
where is the surcharge budgeted? Is that in that's in expenditure?
There is no surcharge
It's not in the budget.
budgeted, because it wasn't
Approved to the board.
contemplated in both the agreement and in the budget when we did that. Right now, the surcharge falls to disposal costs, which are the invoices that we are going to not pay if we can't get them to issue the appropriate credits. So
Okay,
that'll,
so our contract for recycling is about $150,000, it's the cost for recycling, plus supplies.
Plus disposal.
No, that's disposal contracts, recycling, there's $148,397, and supplies recycling, that's not part of the contract, recycling supplies?
That is not part of the contract.
Okay, so the contract's just $150,000 for the year.
And do they tack on that surcharge to the contract cost?
No, the surcharge, it doesn't really appear anywhere, the rebate is net of the surcharge.
Revenue. Okay, so that's why I'm saying maybe the rebate would go negative.
Well, right now it is negative.
It's negative. So at 5,000 is probably negative,
But she's,
which is a cost.
wait a second, cause the.
well, we're not
paid
gonna,
it.
we're not gonna pay
We paid
that
it.
cost.
We're not gonna.
Right.
So who determined, we don't, I mean, if there's no revenues from the recycling, that they can't apply
We've
the way
determined.
the contract reads, it says
The contract
doesn't
is
say
silent
anything in
on
the
the
contract.
subject
silent,
of
so
the
you
rebate.
could interpret
That
it.
was something that they volunteered verbally to us during the last part of the contract negotiations. And they
Okay.
never submitted any written detail related to that verbal rebate discussion. So it does not appear in the
Oh.
original signed contract.
But the $50 or whatever per ton, that's not in the contract either, that's,
No, that's the rebate.
That is it.
That is the rebate. That is part of the rebate structure.
oh,
Yes.
in the existing
No.
contract, no.
Nothing
it's not
about,
in the
nothing about
contract.
the
You're right.
rebate.
It's the rebate. It is part of the rebate structure. That surcharge is part of the rebate structure.
Is
That
the
was
rebate structure in the contract?
It is not in the
Oh, but then
contract.
it's not in the contract.
Right, and it was a change. So we said at the board, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but I was like, I wanna see the contract. If it's not in the contract, I don't think we should be paying.
Well, what we were talking about at the board was the issue of the recycling getting all mixed up and then charging us something extra because we had garbage in the recycling and they had to, that was different even than what you're talking about, right?
Right. Also not in the contract.
Also not in the contract. So are we gonna go back to them and try to put this stuff in the contract, or it seems to benefit us at this point, that it's not in the
You know,
contract?
it charges us more.
Not having those items in the contract currently benefits us. Because they can they can assess the charges, but under the written terms of the contract, they're not addressed, so one could argue that we don't have to pay them.
But if the market were to change.
If the
and-
market were to change,
I don't
which
see
I
Yeah.
don't see
Right.
happening anytime soon, then we would be losing a possible revenue opportunity. But the way things are looking now is somewhat down the road.
Mhm.
Okay.
Not even just revenue, facing maybe a cost too. Expenses would potentially go up, because there's only 5,000 budgeted for revenue.
We get so it costs us $150 and we get a grant of $50,000. So we're spending about $100,000 for recycling. Okay. Okay, my other question was, our winter maintenance, where was that street? The street now looks,
Page 24 for what
yeah, so we are already over on winter maintenance. Are you expecting, do you usually expect there's not big snow in October, November, December, or,
I mean,
is this bad? This looked bad. I
It's not
wasn't
the first time it's ever happened.
sure. Okay,
It's certainly not ideal. It isn't what I'd like it to be,
yeah,
but that is one of those things that is beyond our control.
but I guess, I mean, other than overtime, I mean, you have your 18 guys, women and guys, just guys, okay? And they have to be doing, either street maintenance, winter maintenance, leaves,
Right, they're all on staff.
water, utility, they have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So if more of them have gone to winter maintenance, are there, unless it's overtime, unless it's more overtime?
Generally, the majority of our winter maintenance hours tend to be overtime.
Okay.
But is it because it's off hours, I think? Because I get what trustee, Chair Menta is saying, it's, they're already on staff, so why are we gonna why is it costing more, but is it because they're like at night hours or on
Yeah,
holiday hours?
most likely,
So you're paying time and a half.
we do.
Yeah.
And,
So
you know, some of that is just
Mm-hmm.
the timing of the storms. A lot of it is us trying to work off hours so that we're not trying to clear snow during rush hours, so we have to come in early and get everything done, you know, before that.
Is this something?
It's most efficient for us to work overnight to do snow removal operations, cause there's just, you know, fewer people on the road, it's safer, it's more efficient, so most of those hours tend not to be your 7-3:30.
So
So
we're on.
street and alley is a lot lower though.
Yeah.
I guess,
Well, part of that, I'm sorry,
I mean, I guess how are you gonna, let me see how much of an overage is that?
the street alley issue is that, because we've had a vacancy, you know, because we've had vacancies in the road collector position, that's our first backup. Is
The
pulling
guy.
someone, the street,
Oh, okay.
the person who's assigned to streets.
And we don't contract out then for like street and alleys, no.
No, then what we tend to do is double up on off-route days, so we'll pull route collectors and put them on pothole patching and then hit it harder on Thursdays and Fridays.
Your overall DPW budget is at 51% mid-year, so when you look at the whole picture, your overall mix is pretty close to halfway, a little over half, pretty close.
Okay, Jessica's reminding me that we need to move on to JP&L, so.
Oh, can I just ask one question about finance? The
We can go
markets are,
5 more minutes, I just want, we
Well,
have a lot
to
of.
do on
Yeah.
this.
We got,
Yeah.
yeah, we can
I did
start.
read your report on next year, and I appreciate all your comments, and so.
Sure, we're
I
just
guess-
trying to make sure that that's reviewed.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a question about wellness, but not tonight. So the finance, I just wanna make sure, I just read from the league and then I just read from my financial advisor, but